Hey guys, welcome to my next Do Not Read video. This knowledge pertains to only those who understand what they see in this picture, so if you don't understand what you see, disregard it. But if you do understand what you see here, and don't mind observing my interpretation, keep watching. So, in this series, I'm going to decode a few words, and this is how I'm going to decode every word, letter by letter, and every single line is made on purpose through different layers of encoding and coding. I use the word God because it is one of the first words that appears in the language, other than I, which is the first. Now, God here I'm going to explain. Now, this here is how it is produced when you read it from the front. Okay. Now, if you were to look at it at an aerial view, it would look something like this. This red mark here would be at that font size for representation of the first layer of code. Within writing, when you write down words on paper and things, the code is already there. This red marks are all invisible, so, and it's everywhere. Okay, it's what makes up everything. This piece of paper, the TV screen, my desk, it's all filled with ones and zeros that you cannot see. When writing, when you write down things, you are exposing the code. Okay, that's the whole idea of how it was invented. Now, this here represents the first layer. Okay, now when creating new shapes, you have to implement new layers of code. Now, see, this right here is an overlap. Okay, this would be an overlap. These right here would be overlaps. Okay, revealing partial shapes and symbols. These are actually symbols. Okay, call them letters. Now right here, I'm going to decode that these three different layers. Okay, now this layer right here represents a slice in the code. Okay, with a 0 being represented with a 1 in front of it. Okay, a 1 in front means that it is taking away the shape, and it also cancels out the 1 completely because there's a 1 in front of it and a 1 behind it, so it would appear like this. Okay, the next layers would be represented in a smaller interpretation. Now, if you were going to look at it like this, let me show you. The actual size of a 1 would be like this size. It would take up 2 characters, alright? So it would be like a 1 and a 0, and then you would have a 0 right here, okay? Well, it would actually cover a square of 4, okay? It would look like a square, so you'd have 1 0 1 0 1 0 1 0 1, and then you would have a 0 that would take up 4 points on the graph. Now, this would be representative of the code revealed, and the 1 right here on that layer. So this letter G represents a 3-layer code. Okay, and since directions don't have any real matter You can write one sideways, upside down, diagonal, it doesn't matter. But as a matter of fact, most of the letters in the alphabet are either one way or the other. Okay? So, now understand, if you are reading this, you will find errors on this. You will find errors, okay? The errors are there to mask, you know, this is all about secrets and stuff like that. So, understand I put these errors there on purpose, to weed out all the other people that are like, oh, well, I don't believe it, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Now, the letter D would be represented with a 1 and a half, a 0, okay? Now, like I said here, this would be canceled out right here with the 1, 0, 1 here. Now, this is the exact same thing as this. All it is a mirror. Now, I can explain the mirror effect later. I may or may not, but it might not be necessary. But it's an easy concept to know. Now, creating this line right here would be similar to this, except the 1 is actually behind the 0, and the 2 zeros would cancel each other out. The 1 0 in front and the 1 0 behind it. So it would leave you this mark right here. Okay? And then typically you would attach these two together and you'd form a D. Letter D being the fourth letter in the alphabet. And there are multiple meanings set upon this. But anyways, now if you were to take God and you would combine all these letters together, this is what it would look like. Alright, and this is put together and mirrored. Okay, now this would be the non-mirrored version. Okay, this would be the non-mirrored version. But if you mirror it, it would look like a cross in the middle of a circle, which also represents crosshairs. Okay, also represents a target, because God, whoever is carrying the original the original consciousness of creation, is targeted all the time, being chased. Okay, kind of like a race. Kind of like a race. See who can catch the power, okay? Anyways, this is another small intro on how code's implemented into shapes, and not just shapes, but also, well, letters. Mostly in the English language, because English is very simple. And it is pretty easy to decode, because, and I found this out being here, knowing that a lot of the countries around this world, there's a lot of people in each country that know English. Okay, that's what English was invented for, to make it simple and easy to learn. This concludes the video. I don't want to make it too long. But, anyways, alright. Namaste and Lak'ech. Don't be mean. Play nice.